All right. So everyone who asked to record, you should be good now. Let me know if you're not. So we are going to kick things off with Austin Ward.
That's better. Hey, Justin, how would you what kind of grade would you give that spin move on the scramble for the touchdown?
And it was probably a B. You know, I wish I could have kept my feet up a little bit or stayed on my feet, but I'm just glad I scored. So, but I probably have to give it a B, B plus maybe.
Sorry, Candace, if I could follow up on that. When you decide to scramble, what's sort of the decision-making process as you go through it? How do you know when the time is right?
I mean, there's a lot of scenarios where, you know, I look to scramble. One, maybe being if I see open green grass and it's third down, and, you know, we need the first down. You know, that's one scenario where I might choose to scramble, and another is when nobody's open. And I think I can get some extra yards rather than throwing the ball away. I might as well make it like 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5 rather than 2nd and 10. So I think it's, you know, different for a lot of situations in the game.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Next up, Bill Rabinowitz.
Hi, Justin. I know you had committed to Penn State back in high school, and I'm sure the idea of playing in front of that crowd was one of the reasons that it was so enticing. What are your thoughts on going to Penn State for the first time and not having the whiteout, not even having any fans? Is that diminishing the experience, or are you kind of like glad that you're not going to have to endure that?
No, not really. I mean, I wasn't really going there for the experience. My plan on is going there to win, to beat Penn State. So whether that's with fans or without fans, you know, we have a job, and you know, I think our number one goal is to go out there and beat Penn State.
Next up, Dave Biddle.
Thank you. Justin, you had 15 carries. I know, you know, 3 of those include sacks, but, you know, a lot of people think maybe that's too many carries for you. Where do you come down on that? Do you feel like that's too many carries for you, or do you feel like 15 is about right for you?
I don't really have a set number on what's right or not. I feel like it varies from, you know, game to game, you know, what situation I'm put in the game. So I think it, you know, differentiates between each game.
Thank you.
Up next, Stephen Means.
Hey, Justin. I think there was a play in the goal line situation where Garrett and Jeremy were kind of stacked on each other, and it looked like Garrett was open in the back of the end zone, and he was trying to wave at you to let you know he was there, but you took off. And he said that one of the reasons why is because you said you saw green grass, and so you thought it was a better decision just to take off and run for it. When you do scramble, how much of a conversation is it with your wide receivers afterward? And, you know, usually what are some of those explanations for why maybe even if they thought they were open, you decided that it wasn't a good look for you to throw the ball?
Yeah, so actually I remember the exact play you were talking about. And, yeah, so that was a play action pass where I think it was 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 6. And Garrett was wide open in the end zone. But like I said before, I mean, I just saw green grass. And, you know, I think the biggest part or a big part in playing quarterback is making decisions and not second-guessing yourself. So I made that decision to tuck the ball down and run to go and get the first down. And, I mean, it worked out. But, I mean, I think there will be situations like that where I do have to keep my eyes downfield longer, you know, to see guys open up. So, you know, I think that'll come with time. But, yeah.
Just one quick follow-up. Is Dave, like, asking you – is he as on you about throwing the ball away as much as he was last year?
No. I think he has a lot more confidence in me. And, you know, I of course, last year was my first year starting, so, of course, he was on me a lot. But, you know, there were multiple times where I should have just thrown the ball away last game. But I think Coach Day has that, you know, certain confidence in me, and he trusts me more than last year. So I think he just, you know, trusts me to make the right decision.
Thanks.
Up next, Dan Hope.
Hey, Justin. Coach Day's talked a lot about the expectations that are on you guys, and I know you have high expectations for yourself. Just how do you manage those to make sure you don't get caught up in trying to live up to the high expectations?
Yeah, I mean, of course, being at Ohio State, we expect to win every game. So, but managing those expectations, I think you just have to take it one game at a time, 1 week at a time. You can't really look into the future. And yeah, so that's what we try to do. Coach Days is just honest, about taking one game at a time, and our complete focus is on Penn State. It's not about last week what happened versus Nebraska. It's all on Penn State right now. So I think that's kind of how we keep our focus on one game, and that's what I guess the recipe to success is. Just focusing on one thing at a time.
Is it hard at all not to look ahead to the possibilities that could happen later in the year?
I don't think it's hard because if you mess up this week, that opportunity never comes. I mean, the past years, Ohio State's lost that one game to Purdue, and if they didn't lose that game, they most likely would have been in the college football playoff. So I don't think it's hard to look into the future. I think just focusing on the present and focusing on each game week by week. I think that's the best way to go by, winning and getting to the place we want to be. Because if we know that we focus one game at a time, we know that at the end of the season we'll be right where we want to be.
Thanks, Justin.
Yep.
Up next, Tony Girdman.
Hey, Justin, we talked to Josh Myers yesterday, and he said that when you do run, they're going to make sure the offensive line is going to make sure to pick you up before there's anything funny happening in the pile. I'm wondering how often that happened this year or happened last year. Like, how often does that happen to you where maybe somebody tries to twist an ankle or grab you somewhere? Like, how much of a concern is that for you? How often does it happen?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely happened a little bit last game in terms of, I just getting tackled and guys trying to twist my ankle or whatnot. But I would say it happens more so when we play, I guess, I don't want to say worse teams, but like the teams that, I guess don't have that good of a chance in winning. They just try to do whatever, to be honest with you. And I think it, when we play teams that are, just more well coached and, better teams, I think it tends to happen less. And I think that, might come with respect, but I don't really know. I've never really seen the point into, twisting another guy's ankle or trying to, hurt him after the play's over. I just don't see the point in that. But, yeah.
Thanks.
Next up, Tim May.
Thank you very much. Hey, Justin, saw you and Josh Myers having some conversations coming off the field a few times and stuff. And just what are some of maybe the communication situations y'all maybe are getting straightened out this week in terms of like, blitzes, stunts and things like that? And what are you responsible for there? And what are Josh and the linemen responsible for there in those kind of situations?
Yeah, so me and Josh's communication is basically just making sure we're on the same page. I think that's why we talk and communicate off of the field. But basically, his job is to set the ID, and of course, my I guess role is to trump anything I see. So if I see some sort of rotation, or if I see maybe a look that they've given the week before or maybe last year, and I think a certain blitz is coming, I'm able to, move the protection to somewhere else or do that. So,
yeah,
of course, the quarterback trumps, what the O-line says, because I can see, I guess, more of the field and kind of the whole field, because they're in that 3-point stance. But that's kind of our roles when it comes to, protections and stuff like that.
How important is it this week against Penn State, which does bring a few every now and then?
Huh?
How important is that this week against Penn State, which does bring a few every now and then, if you know what I'm saying? Blitzes, et cetera.
I think it's important. I mean, I think it's the most important thing. Of course, I want to take as less hits as possible. So I think it's important every week, to be honest with you. I don't think it's, less important or more important than it was last week. It's, just has a, it's really one of our top priorities.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
Up next, Patrick Murphy.
Well,
Justin, you were after the game about Jackson's catch, and I know you said you didn't see it because you took a hit, but I assume you've seen it by now. Just your reaction to him getting in bounds and what he adds to this offense now that you guys have had a month or so to really work in pads and everything.
I mean, it's not really surprising to see, that catch he made. I mean, he does it all the time in practice. So, I think when the whole team saw it, we weren't surprised by, his ability to do that because, I mean, he's shown it multiple times in practice. But, Jackson's a great receiver with great speed, great hands, and, he runs great routes. So, he definitely brings another talented receiver to our already talented receiving core. And I'm just excited to, be able to get to throw the ball to him.
And Garrett said yesterday that we haven't seen Julian at top speed yet, but a guy his size, his speed is surprising. What have you seen from him, and what can he bring as well?
I mean, the same thing, just great all-around receiver. He's a big body, of course. He runs great routes. He's definitely fast. He has great hands, so just another great receiver. I think Coach Hart does a great job with developing those guys and, making sure they're ready for the game.
Thanks, Justin.
Yeah.
Up next, Spencer Holbrook.
Justin, when we talked to you before the season started, you talked about having a conversation with Coach Day about not, overcoaching or overthinking just because of the long layoff. You had a lot of time to draw some things up. How do you think that went? And did the game, I mean, you obviously started for an entire year, but did the game slow down for you as it went on in that aspect, not overthinking and things like that?
Yeah, the game definitely kind of looks slower. Like the defense looks slower moving. And I just think that comes with, studying film and, being with Coach Day so much and kind of getting that, I guess that different perspective on the defense and kind of seeing what he's thinking when he's calling certain plays. So I think, just as much time as I spend with him is good for me, and it definitely helps me out, and it definitely helps me to be a better quarterback.
Up next, Joey Kaufman.
Hey, Justin, you mentioned earlier about scrambling, that when you see an opening or green grass that you'll take it and scramble, and it kind of goes off what the defense gives you. But do you have when you think of games, or if you were to draw your ideal scenario, is there how much would you want to ideally scramble? How much do you want to throw? Do you ever think about it kind of in those ways?
No, I never really think about it like in terms of numbers. Like I said, I'm willing to do whatever, to help the team win, whether that's not scrambling at all, whether that's scrambling every play. It doesn't really matter to me.
How did you feel Sunday running 15 times and taking some sacks, being your first game in 10 months?
I mean, of course I was sore. I mean, that was my first time getting hit in 10 months, but I'm recovering more and more each and every day, so I should be fully recovered by Saturday.
Up next, Colin Haskell.
Hey, Justin, I just wanted to ask, specifically about the quarterback sneak, since you did it twice on Saturday. What sort of goes into a quarterback sneak in your mind, and why was that something that was so successful for you this weekend?
Well, of course, I think it starts up front. We have a great lineman. We have a great center, Josh Myers, great guards, Wyatt Davis and Harry Miller. So, I mean, and then I also think it, again, the amount of trust Coach Day has with me and, putting me in those certain situations. But, yeah, I mean, I think that's more of a question for Coach Day on what goes into that play calling, because he's a coach, but I just get to play and, execute it to the best of my ability.
What for you though as a quarterback makes like how do you make that play successful as a quarterback? Is there anything other than just being tough and running as hard as you can straight?
I feel like a quarterback sneak you can't really like describe like how to make it successful. Like I feel like I've always just had a feeling for finding a maybe an open gap or something like that, but I don't think there's a set, just example or description where you can describe how to be successful on a QB sneak.
Appreciate it.
I feel like I've always just done it naturally, to be honest with you.
And last one, Pete Thamel.
Hey, Justin, I want to ask you something kind of from the big picture. You show up at Ohio State about a year and a half ago, and you have to adjust to teammates, learn them, and lead at the same time. And that has to be an interesting adjustment to both arrive and lead. And I'm wondering, just now that you've been in the program for a year, you had a whole off season with everybody, just how much more comfortable you are being an alpha in the program.
Yeah, I mean, I'm way more comfortable. Just I think that time that I've spent with guys in the off season, the things that we have to go through the off season, I think that just made us, a lot closer, and us not being able to, have, those relationships were kind of outside of the facility because of the pandemic and stuff going on. I think that's just kind of made us more of a family, even though we were already close, as it was. So I think all of those intangibles and all of the stuff that has happened to us in the past have just made us closer. And I mean, just that and seeing that, that our guys are looking for that leader, I think, I stepped in at the perfect time, and I think I've done a pretty good job leading my teammates.
And can I follow up just and ask you a little bit about footwork, which I know isn't like the sexiest thing, but that was when I talked to Ryan this weekend and I talked to Quincy yesterday. They said like your footwork is more aligned with your body now. Can you explain how that helps you as you go through your progressions be more accurate?
I'm not really sure what they meant by my footworking.
I guess in sync might be a better, like, just if your footwork's in sync with your reads, it helps your accuracy.
I mean, yeah, that just comes with timing and, knowing when that route is most likely going to open up and making sure you're on time. And I feel like if every quarterback is on time to a certain read or a certain route, that's definitely going to make them more accurate in terms of passing the ball. So I think, that just comes with timing and kind of knowing who's running the route and, what route is being ran and it just kind of knowing your guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you very much, Justin. Have a good day.
All right, Candace. Appreciate it. See you guys.
So we will have Nicholas Petit Ferrer in about 15 minutes. So everybody just sit tight.